Hello and welcome to the Storytelling for the Soul podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Kanata, and this is the place we talk about all things expressive writing and other creative techniques, all with a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer thrown in. Buckle up and enjoy. Hello and welcome back to another episode. It has been quite some time. I've actually been pretty poor at recording podcasts, to be honest with you, but the narrative as to why fits in nicely with today's episode, which is all about your passion and following it being the best way, regardless of what you're doing. Here's the thing. I've been in business 10 years now. I've had 3 businesses in total. The first one was a freelance copywriting and public relations business. It was actually far more successful than I imagined, especially given at the time I had very little business experience. The problem with that business was that it just felt like a job. Actually, not just one job, multiple jobs. I didn't feel all that passionate about what I was doing, besides when I landed the odd job here and there, mostly in the not-for-profit space, doing what I felt like was meaningful work. So I decided to step away from that business and follow what's always been my guiding compass, my love of writing. So from there, I started a website called This Woman Can, which was all about female empowerment and highlighting the incredible businesswomen all around the globe who are doing remarkable things and really leading the way. Now, by the time I got to that business, I had encountered a couple of issues. Namely, I had invested a lot of money up to that point in business coaching. So to my logical mind, it made complete sense to basically engage someone who had already built a successful blogging, writing, whatever you want to call it, website in a different niche to basically show me how to do the same thing, but with This Woman Can. Unfortunately for me, it didn't quite work and I ran out of money. And because I'd been through so many business coaches up to that point, I pretty much spent a load of money investing. Yes, I'd get the odd helpful thing here and there, but to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of coaching and business coaching in particular, but I do think that it ultimately is a little bit like therapy, to be honest with you. Finding the right fit is the make or break. And at this point, I'm up to my 3rd business, Storytelling for the Soul, which I affectionately call The One, the business that I'm very sure of. But anyhow, I've now found a mentor, Chrissy from Creative Little Soul, who is the perfect fit. And if only I had have found her 10 years ago, I might be in a completely different place as I share where I am right now with you. The other problem that I encountered besides the financial side of things was that I really outgrew the niche of This Woman Can, and I fell out of love with building that kind of very focused, niched website. And it's not because I don't believe in women's empowerment. Of course I do. I am a woman. I'm a woman in business. I've seen lots of things, but I have more lived experience now. And at the time, I saw myself outgrowing the niche. So I chose to step away from This Woman Can. And that's when I started Storytelling for the Soul. Now, with This Woman Can, what really happened was that I gutted it of its core through trying to monetize it. And unfortunately for myself with Storytelling for the Soul, I've discovered that I found myself in a little bit of the same position over the last month or so. it's also because of my lived experience. So I genuinely believe with everything that I have in my body in the power of writing. Beyond being something that is here for us as pure enjoyment. So not just creative writing, but the power of writing to have an element of expression and bring with it healing when used as a complementary tool as part of a toolkit. So let me be clear. What I am not saying is that if you engage in writing and journaling, all of your life's woes are going to disappear into the background. No, I very much see writing as a complementary tool to whatever else you might be doing in your life, whether that's working with a professional like a counselor, a psychologist, could be absolutely anything, a life coach, or maybe you're just making an effort to engage in personal development activities. I see writing as part of a complete system. And that's basically how I use it. So I have my writing. I have other things like movement, gym, meditation. It's a holistic approach. And that's how I've always framed this work, storytelling for the soul. Now, as part of my journey, what happened to me is that basically at about 30, I had a bunch of gut issues, and after doing all of the medical tests that the Western medical model uses, I ended up with a diagnosis of irritable bowel syndrome. Now, I was told that it would be something I'd have to manage for the rest of my life, and there really wasn't much else that could be done. So that didn't sound too appealing as a 30-year-old. So I really started investigating and engaging in my own research. And I soon came across a bunch of information about the mind-body-gut connection. And to cut a long story short, I ended up landing with the Center for Healing and doing their embodied processing practitioner course. So embodied processing is a body-based approach to working with trauma. I do not call myself a trauma expert. I say that I am trauma informed, which means that I have some kind of understanding about trauma and the nervous system and how trauma gets stuck in our body and how we can get trapped in this circumstance of living the same scenario unknowingly over and over. Now, I learned about that. I genuinely believe that has been a real game changer for myself personally. I'm very happy to say that, yes, every now and again I have a flare up with my gut, usually if I'm anxious or nervous about something, or I am very sensitive to food, unfortunately, still. But overall, I live a pretty happy life. Doing the things I want to do, being physically active, it doesn't really get in the way of my day-to-day life anymore, like it once did. So I started incorporating a lot of the embodied processing techniques into my work, and I very definitely found myself going down more of a one-to-one writing to complement healing approach, which I genuinely believe in. I really believe in it, not just for myself. I've seen the impacts of blending modalities on myself personally. I've also seen it with clients. The problem is, I think what's happened is that I've gone too far down the rabbit hole and veered too far away from what has always been my compass, and that is writing. And why has that happened? Because honestly, and I'm being super transparent with you here, I've fallen into the same trap with storytelling for the soul as I fell into with This Woman Can. By trying to monetize my business, I've essentially lost my way. And yes, sure, I operate a business with an internet and laptop connection, but there's still costs attached to business that people, unless you're actually running a business or have run one in the past, don't understand. I have costs like insurance, email marketing, all kinds of things. And yes, this is my choice to run this business because I'm genuinely passionate about what I do and I can't see myself ever not doing this work. But my point is here to at least break even. I've tried to come up with things and be creative and put forward things that I genuinely believe in. And like I just said, I veered away from what lights me up, or what I need to feed my soul. And that is essentially writing. Not just writing to try to convince, and I use the word convince people about this work, but writing for genuine, pure enjoyment about topics that are relevant to me and that I genuinely believe are relevant to many people. Things like midlife, my ultimate love, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and other things as well, creating vision boards. I like to think outside the box. I don't like to stick necessarily with the one genre. I am super focused on personal development. But what I found when I was trying to monetize storytelling for the soul, and in particular one-on-one work, I was spending so much time doing all these things like Instagram videos and pitching myself for podcasts and blogs and all kinds of things that I wasn't doing what actually lights me up. I haven't been doing what I would call my genuine passion is, and that's writing. And it's really led to this point where, approaching the end of 2025, I feel like I haven't done what actually makes me happy. And this light bulb moment actually came to me when I was in a mentoring session with Chrissy. It almost didn't come from me. Have you ever had those moments where you just feel like you get this bolt of information that it's you, but it doesn't feel like it's just you? It's coming from a place somewhere else. And I said something along the lines of, if I could wave a magic wand, I would just be able to write. And that would be enough. And maybe I could cover my business costs. So after that sentence left my mouth, I knew it was time for change. After speaking with Chrissy, I spoke with my other very good friend, Kathy from Licorice Digital, and she revamped my website. So now if you go to my website, sarahcanada.com, you will see that the focus is squarely on my writing. And yes, I'm always going to be here for those of you who would like to engage in journaling, who would like to engage on one-on-one work to see how expressing yourself through writing can help you. Perhaps you're interested in writing a memoir, but it doesn't just have to be that. Journaling, generally, I'm always going to be there for those people who are interested in that. But here's the thing that I've really come to understand in 2025. For everything else in my life to feel okay, I need to water my cup. And the way that I water my cup is by expressing myself through writing. What lights me up is posting every single week about a topic that gets me excited, and then engaging and connecting with you through the written word. So, moving forward, you're going to see more of an emphasis on writing from me. And if I can give you one takeaway from someone who's been in business for 10 years now, so that is a significant amount of time, I will say this to you. Following your purpose and your passion might seem like the long road. However, when you veer off that path and find yourself lost in the wilderness, just like I have a couple of times, or to be fair, more than a couple of times over the last 10 years, you realize that if you just had have stayed on the path and kept following your heart and your passion and your purpose and doing what you love, who knows where you could be now. I don't know where I could be now. I'm never going to be able to know that. But I'm putting this out there for anyone who thinks that following money alone is the way. It's not. Monetization alone, without the passion element, without the purpose element, without the meaning element, is very likely not going to end well. So like I said, I wanted this to be a transparent, open conversation with you. I always love hearing your thoughts. You are welcome to email me at any time, info@sarahcanada.com. Check out my new website, sarahcanada.com. Sarah is spelled Sarah, Kanata is Cannata. And I promise to be back with you with another episode a lot sooner than in a month. Thank you.